Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. Talk a little more high school football. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sully.
What's happening, buddy?
Just getting hyped up, man. I got, I'm running in place. I'm doing some morning exercises. I got some Van Halen on. I'm ready for some playoff football.
Van Halen with Roth or Hagar?
You got to go with Roth, right? I mean,
nah, I'm a Hagar guy.
I don't know. Well, 6 1/2 for me. As long as I can hear the axe shred, it doesn't matter.
I was a Hagar guy from back in the early '80s when he was a solo guy.
Yeah, see, you're before my time, though, Sully. I don't want to date you, man, but you're before my time.
Yeah, man, back when he was with Montrose in the '70s. Little rock and roll knowledge there for you, dropping it.
Yeah, this might as well be BC. In my years, the 70s. I'm a late 80s baby.
That was my first tape. Shows you my age. My first cassette tape was Sammy Hagar live all night long, 1978.
I will give you this, man. I love heavy metal.
So does Owen Bowles from Cedar Creek.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, he gets Pantera going on the iPod before the games.
Hey, he's a beast, isn't he? I'm looking forward to seeing him on Sunday.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, 6'4", I think. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. 6'4", 6'5", probably goes about 270.
He's going to Rutgers, right?
Yep. Yeah, him and Bo Melton going up to Rutgers next year.
Whew. They got a tall task Sunday, Sully.
So we're going to see you out there Sunday morning?
You got it.
I expect to see the championship salmon pants.
It's a possibility. I might have to do it just for you and the Glory Days crew. Yeah, we're getting down to it here. Championship weekend. It's I know we always talk about fashion. It's tough to get a selection that really sums up the pageantry of the weekend. So maybe I will have to go with the salmon pants.
We'll get a picture together. I'll be sort of a honorary hats off.
Well, we could probably arrange that.
I should get a hats off for all my coverage of high school sports.
Let me say this, man.
We'll do a pregame honorary hats off.
I'm considering it, but I will say usually when I go to cover a game, there's about 10 to 15 kids who say, I got to get the hat today. And usually those are the 10 or 15 kids who are definitely not getting the hat today. So because it's you, Sully, I'm not gonna put you on that list, but we'll see. We'll see if your performance merits it, man. This is a performance-based award.
What, are you kidding me? We've been killing it with Glory Days.
We got to bring the chair. You better have
the
camera.
You want to hear performance?
You better have it.
You want to hear performance?
I do.
In November, my Twitter feed over 300,000 impressions.
Oh, that's performance.
I'll give
you that.
That's D1 right there, buddy.
That's that's D1 for sure.
That gets an honorary pregame hats off.
I think so.
That'll probably get me about 100 new followers on Twitter.
Yeah, I probably will. I'm not gonna seal the deal yet. I'm not gonna put the wax seal on the envelope yet, but.
This guy playing all coy with me.
You're in a good spot, so you position yourself nicely for a hats off.
Hey, I'm not the JV man. I'm varsity, buddy. we don't mess around at Glory Days. This is varsity.
Absolutely. Hey, you got to give me one of those beanies for wrestling season, pal.
That's true. I got to get some new ones made up.
Please do. At least one more.
I've had a number of requests for the Glory Days beanies.
I love it.
I'll have to get a dozen or so made up. Let's talk some football, man. What do you got today? You going to cover Salem game? Yeah,
I got Salem Paulsboro. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Your boy Kevin was talking about that game, and Paulsboro, like we talked about with Kevin, I think they're sick of hearing about how good Jonathan Taylor is, but it's hard not to talk about a kid who's putting up almost 400 yards in a playoff game.
Yeah, the Paulsboro kids. And, Josh Friedman wrote the preview story on this a couple of days ago. They are tired of hearing about Jonathan Taylor. But you know what? This time of year, I get tired of hearing about how cold it is. Doesn't really matter. I mean, that's the situation. The kid set the modern-day state record for rush yards and scored over 30 times, guess what? You're going to hear about him. So that's kind of comes with the territory. But yeah, at this point in time, anybody who makes it to a championship's a good program, or at least has had a spectacular season. Paulsboro, they're used to this type of success over the years in wrestling and football, certainly, and especially in boys basketball the last handful of years too. So they, I don't know that they felt disrespected. I think they just kind of felt like they were tired of hearing about it. And I added to the hype. I saw him against Woodbury. You were talking to Kevin about that 368-yard game he had. He was unbelievable. I wrote a column a day later that said he's the best high school running back I've ever seen. I stick by that. And I said, I hope people go watch him before he's gone. And they got one more chance, and it's today, and I'll be there. So, we'll see. We'll see. Paulsboro will have their chances in this game. They have a great offense. And I think their defense is probably one of the best that Salem's faced. But as Kevin said, and I hate to keep piggybacking off him, I don't want to give him a big ego, but as Kevin said here, nobody's really been able to stop the kid. So if they could do it, great. If not, then they just go on a pretty long list at this point.
Hey, it's 46 degrees and sunny, man. That's an Irish summer day.
Hey, you got it, man. I got a little Irish blood in me, so I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, so it should be great weather. Talking with Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. Mark, let's talk about tomorrow morning, Cedar Creek, West Deptford. Obviously, we know West Deptford has kind of been a team on the mission this year. They dropped 60 points in their playoff opener. Can Cedar Creek make enough plays to beat this team for a second time in 2 years?
It's interesting when you talk to West Deptford coach Clyde Folsom about this game, and I think on paper, having not seen Cedar Creek and knowing that they kind of went through a little bit of a lull earlier in the season. They only lost one game, but Camden beat them by 20 points. Camden ended up winning 3 games, and it was kind of odd there. I think on paper we thought without Amir Mitchell, who was their star last year before Bo Melton sprung onto the scene and kind of took the spotlight, I think kind of felt like maybe they'd take a step back this year with so much attention being paid to Melton. But quarterback Jesse Mills' numbers have been fantastic. There have been other kids step up. Certainly the defense has been great. And Clyde Folsom will tell you to a man, this team's better than last year's Cedar Creek's team. I mean, the way he sees it on film and what he studied, this team looks better than that team. Now, the flip side to that is this West Deptford team is also much better than last year's team. They've got more than 20 seniors. Many of these kids have suffered through 2 championship losses. And they've got Anthony Sees, who transferred in from Kingsway over the summer after his folks moved. And he's an all-South Jersey type player. So I think both teams have gotten better. Certainly, I think it helps West Deptford to get back to this point with all that riding on it. Yes, there is pressure, but you get one last shot. And I think it adds to it that you see Cedar Creek again. So they lost by a point last year, basically because of a missed extra point. Cedar Creek then went down, scored, and kicked the extra point to win the game with 73 seconds left. So it should be a great matchup. I think West Deptford's certainly a little bit of a favorite, but I haven't seen Cedar Creek. I just know from what Clyde said that they're just as good, probably a little bit better than last year.
I think the key for West Deptford is going to be controlling that emotion in the first quarter of not trying to score 30 points in the first quarter and get so far ahead of these guys. And obviously you have that motivation from losing last year, but you can't let that consume you, and you have to, play your assignment football and do the right things that you've been taught.
Well, I think that's a big part of it. I agree with that for anybody, in this game. You gotta stay even keeled, and Clyde certainly knows that. It's his 15th time in a South Jersey championship game as a head coach. The biggest thing for West Deptford is they have to hold on to the ball, and they have to keep time of possession. I think before Bo Melton's really long run at the end of the first half last year, that gave the Pirates momentum going in the second half, even though they were down 14-0. I think they only had 8 offensive snaps in the first half, or something around that number. The more opportunities they get with the ball, the more Bo Melton, Jesse Milza can hurt West Defford. And Folsom and his Eagles, their defense, they're especially cognizant of that. I mean, the 2 defensive kids I talked to in Clyde all told me separately, we're not going to shut Bo Melton out. We can't. It's not possible. The key is to limit. And so they understand the challenge that's ahead of them. They know they have to gang tackle. We always joke about the cliche, we got to get hats to the ball, guys. Got to get as many hats to the ball as we can. Run around the field, get hats to the ball. They've got to get those hats to the ball. It's now or never. I mean, these kids, I can't imagine walking off the field 3 years in a row in a championship game losing. So it should be interesting to see how they perform.
Yeah, it should be an outstanding game. We're going to see you out there, buddy. We got to let you go up against the break, but good stuff, and we'll catch you out there tomorrow.
Hey, absolutely, Sully. I look forward to seeing you, man, and, when you go to bed at night, just say your prayers, maybe get the hat on you.
All right, buddy. Have a good weekend, man. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, you too. Bye.
That was Mark Trible, the Courier-Post.